Hello, welcome to another episode of Comprehending Consciousness. My name is Allie with A. Marie Speaks, and this episode is 26, and I'm going to be talking about NPCs. So, the series in general, just in case anybody's new here, welcome so much and thank you. If you're not new, thank you for tuning in again. I appreciate everybody who watches all my videos. In case you're new, I have 20-something other episodes all over these kind of new age, woke, mainstream terms and phrases that we're seeing a lot trickling down, into the 3D matrix kind of realm, and more people waking up too. And whether you're new to spirituality or you're new to metaphysics, or maybe you're just waking up a little bit, right, and starting to get curious about these kinds of things, right? Yourself, your journey here, maybe if you want to have a purpose here, right? Welcome. And as a brief intro, I guess I'll just say, right, I have created this series to sort of bridge the gap for new people and those of us who've been awake for a while, those of us who've had a long time to kind of chew on these terms and phrases, right, and see them from different angles and work at them, see what works, what falls away, what stays. And so I thought I would create this series sort of as a way to pass down my own gatherings, I guess, at this point in time on these kind of subjects, because a lot of them that I do talk about have misconceptions or maybe a frivolous kind of materialistic side to them, like a thin layer of ice sort of over them, right, that most of the mainstream kind of skates on and just takes it for face value. And there's a lot of lost importance and meaning and ideas when we do that, when we just take things for face value. And that is the exact opposite about what waking up, 5D, new earth, like ascending, gaining maturity, growing as a sovereign being, right? Becoming an adult, thinking for yourself, discerning. This is where this whole alignment of thinking comes from. And so it's my hope that I'm inspiring others to hear a new way or new ways to look at these things, and hopefully later on, after I give you my tour of the tip of the iceberg, right, the whole key to it is that you take your diving gear and you put yours on later, and you go do the dive for yourself. You go look at other references or more videos, or even if it's internal meditation, introspection, have a conversation with yourself, your higher self, assess information, right? I hope that's what I'm inspiring, and that's really the motivation behind this entire series. So thank you again for joining me, and if you're not new, thanks again for tuning back in. So today's topic is NPCs. And if you haven't heard the phrase, or maybe you've seen the memes and you just see the lettering and you're like, what are people talking about, right? Or if you haven't seen the memes at all, because maybe that's not in your realm of influence. But NPC in itself stands for non-playing character. And so there is a whole kind of world of memes out there that I just find super funny. I absolutely love humor and memes. I think one of the keys to breaking out of the matrix is humor. It's such a beautiful avenue. It's so organic and unique and human. So bring it in. Let's, I love especially the memes that say like that we're fighting World War III with memes. Like, I just love it. It's no truer. Nothing is truer. God loves a joke. I just think the creator, the mystery of it, whoever is up there, the infinite creator, loves to be surprised and loves a joke. I mean, who doesn't? Come on. Anyways, sorry, getting a little off topic here, but the NPCs, right? So people have like a million memes, and if you haven't seen them, type it into a search or look on your social media, because I'm sure you'll find them. They're so funny. Now, non-playing character in itself kind of comes from the background of games, like computer gaming or video gaming or whatever, where we have kind of like simulated characters, right, that just kind of do their own thing in the background. They don't have a role. So we have role-playing games where you get to be the character. You're the main person and you do the choices. Like, younger kids all know this already. So in case anybody's older like me or older than me, you know, we didn't grow up with games, and especially not computer games. I didn't have computers when I was a kid. I mean, some like the richer people did, you know, because I was a child in like the 90s, early 90s. You know, I was born in the 80s. And I wasn't part of a place that had, you know, I wasn't at a situation where we had computer access like that every day or something. But anyways, for the older people, right? Just a quick explanation of what it is. Like the background characters that have no real impact on the actual game. We call NPCs. So the way of thinking that's coming through now in a lot of the sort of woke truthers, the young kids with the memes and things, you know, they're starting to really poke fun at people who don't think for themselves and who perhaps don't really play an active role in their life, right? That's sort of the crust layering. That's the easiest way to understand what I'm talking about with NPCs. That's kind of the 3D realm version, right? These people don't play an active role in their life, or they're kind of like the sheeple. And that in itself is definitely, you know, in my opinion, a valid perspective to have and to call someone. However, there is a more like metaphysical kind of interesting aspect to NPCs that we could look at and draw parallels to. I really like Dolores Cannon. I used to read her books years ago even, and still, you know, even though she's passed away, the quantum hypnosis techniques really have opened such a cool door to the imagination space, right? So I really enjoy learning and about that kind of stuff. She has a concept, background people, and I always was kind of, it intrigued me. I wondered about that because I don't want to be called a background person, and what kind of level are you putting people on? Who's influential and who's not? You know, I'm alive. I live my life. I definitely have a real reality I'm in. So that kind of had made me, I was kind of off put by that when I had read that in the initial time. But over time and over my awakening and reading more material, learning more, and especially like thinking about, say, books like the Law of One, where they have a real kind of scientific description of how the layerings, the densities and dimensions of space work, right? Another way to kind of think of NPCs is that they are lower in conscious density, conscious awareness. And so they inhibit or live within, you know, a different density than others. Say people like who we find ourselves more awake, more consciously aware, you know. And to us, from up here, when we look, we're interacting, we don't realize that it's, you know, they can't really interact with us because they're at a different density. And so they look like background people. They look like unimportant. That's another kind of way to look at it. I'm not trying to say that any of them are right, because who knows, you know. But it is interesting, and there's no denying the fact that you can see out there different varieties of consciousness, different varieties of interaction in people. So I think NPCs are such a cool topic to kind of break through with the lower, you know, just waking up kind of 3D bound matrix people. It's a cool reference, and especially when it ties into video games and stuff, and you can get it more into the younger kids' minds, like, hey, am I playing an active role in my life or not? Like, why am I following other people's rules? Why am I not doing what feels good for myself? Why am I not being player one? Like, you know, and there's a whole other aspect and a really cool, there's many different aspects, but these are things just coming off the top of my head, right? But that kind of Ready Player One idea or concept, is it simulation here? And are specific ones of us who are awake in our realities, are we real players? And is it kind of Sims? And do we inhabit these vessels and then make interactions, and are literally some of them out there literal background characters who just don't even have the same beingness that we do, same consciousness, the same ignited spirit, you know? Is it an empty vessel? And when we start to think about that and what that could mean just on a metaphysical level, let alone trying to put that on a spectrum of duality, negative and positive, or in a dogmas like religion or something, you know, because when we start to look at that and open up the concepts of beliefs and what the kind of possibilities build off of those ideas, it's infinite, right? And where attention goes, energy flows. So remember, please, when you're building these ideas, constructions of what you think to choose to believe that you're involved in here, your mind creates everything. If you are player one, you know, you are part of the creator. You have infinite intelligence within you, and you have infinite influence within you. Our attention, that whatever this eternal flame that sparks our energy torus, that gives us this electric life, you know, that part of it, the creator essence within us, when we look at something, when we give our love, our time, attention, our eyesight, our motivation, our desires in there, when we put something like that into something, we're bestowing life into that thing. We are creating something, literally. And that's a beautiful gift. It's a huge responsibility, but it's a beautiful gift to be that kind of player. And to own it in your life, to live in your sovereign worth, right? To own these things and to interact that way, to be always, you know, player one, making the choices, discerning, seeing the whole path, remembering you're on a journey, remembering, you know, your tool belt, your kits, your direction, you're seeking. What are you seeking? And go for it, right? Because an NPC can't even grasp that. This will go in one ear and out the other. They will forget about it. They will click off. They will scroll. They probably won't get through this video because it's 12 minutes. You know, they probably watch shorts, if anything. Now, and that's a whole other thing to think about, this 3D realm of what we want to designate down to an NPC, because we can easily throw labels on people and generally call them NPCs, just like I just did, right? That's kind of another, it's almost like turned into a derogatory statement. And it's so hard not to do that, unfortunately, but it's also, life's a work in progress, right? And we have to have compassion and understanding as much as we can remind ourselves, and as much as we can bring ourselves back down to, just like I'm doing with this series, trying to build bridges and extend helping hands down into the darkness, right? To pull up and out, because that is our responsibility. That the higher you get, the more light you have, the more in your ascension, the more conscious awareness you have, the more responsibility we have to try to shake and wake the NPCs, right? I think at the end of the day, we can each decide what kind of levels of reality we want to believe we're interacting in. They're really cool to, you know, imagine and create around. So I hope I've inspired you to do such, and I hope I've sort of just talked a little bit about them. I hope you'll go see some memes if you haven't yet, because they're really cool and funny. And I guess I'll wrap this video up. Thank you so much for watching Comprehending Consciousness. I hope you'll tune in to me next time. I'm going to do episode 27 on the black pill. So if that interests you, go check it out. And if you don't know what the black pill is, or you sort of remember the blue pill, red pill from the Matrix, but you don't really remember, I did a red pill video episode 19, I believe, but I will link it below on the red pill, so you could check that out in the meantime before I come out with the black pill. In the meantime, also, you could always find me over on Telegram, A. Marie Speaks, or on Spotify under the same name. And I'll catch you next time.